we are all fucking slaves. And this place will run red with blood, motherfuckers! And now, enough babbling. Let's get the master of Brazilian horror over here. People, give it out to my master, my father in cinema, José Mojica Marins.
Estão convidados a entrar no estranho mundo de Zé do Caixão.
You're all invited to enter the strange world of Coffin Journey. I've been here 9 years ago.
No próprio Festival Fantasia, ainda iniciando.
I was here at Fantasia 9 years ago when it was still an incipient festival.
Foi muito bem recebido.
I was so welcome here.
Pelos organizadores do festival e pelo povo canadense.
By the directors of the festival and by the Canadian people.
E o Canadá, queira ou não, ocupou mais pedaço dentro do meu coração.
And Canada, therefore, occupied a big chunk of my heart.
E, queira ou não, o ser humano, ao chegar realmente nessa idade, já estou quase na casa dos 74, eu só tenho que me sentir gratificado, agradecer ao povo e à força suprema, Deus.
So at the stage of my life, I'm nearly 74 years old, I feel so gratified, and I have to thank you all, and also, thank the Supreme Force, God.
Penso que eu estou vencido, enfraquecido pelo tempo.
Serei sua.
It was, a madhouse. The theater became a madhouse. It was really impressive, because they do respond to the film and to, what's most, harrowing and fucked up and warped in the film, and they responded like hysterically. So we felt so rewarded because we felt we were at the right place, with the best crowd. Fantasia is it's more than a festival. It's a certification. First of all, being selected to be here, proves that you have a good horror film or a good fantastic film in your hands. It's a certification. And as for screening in here, that's not only a certification. This is a crowning. Because you get to see an audience which is so fond of genre filmmaking, and they do respond very, vividly. Not only when they like a film, but they don't like a film either. So when you get to be liked by the audience at Fantasia, you have a kick-ass movie. I was friends with Mojica since 1995, and I always knew that he had this third installment of the trilogy, of the Coffin Joe trilogy, that he never got to make because he had many tragic stories involving producers that died, but I knew nonetheless, that he was still very keen on making this film. So back in 2001, we were friends for 6 years already. He always knew that that was a film disciple. I was starting to make my first short films, write my first feature film screenplays back then, and he knew that I always wanted to collaborate with him. So I got to talk, to this producer in Brazil. His name is Paulo Sacramento, who was a long-time fan of Mojica as well, and who also knew that that was the third Coffin Joe film never produced, and still waiting to be produced. And he said, well, let's talk to Mojica, let's make this film. We're fans, we're hardcore fans. You want to collaborate so bad with him. He can teach you a lot about directing, and he can come up with a good script for the Coffin Joe trilogy. Let's look for him and let's ask what he thinks about it. Mojica was not really believing that it would happen, because he was so disillusioned about these other producers that either abandoned the project or died trying to make it. So he thought, oh, this is another, these kids, young producers. Okay, let's see what they have in stock for me. So in the end, it turned out that we structured very good projects, and we on the course of 6 years, we managed to raise the whole funding for the film and make it happen.
Faz seu filho em mim. Por você e por filho seu, eu comeria da minha própria carne.
The script of Embodiment of Evil, was not from my own penning. It's a story that dates back to 1968, when the first drafts of the script were written by Mojica. So I came into the project in 2001. So when I came into the project, I got to read, the only remaining draft of the script. That was a draft that Mojica rewrote in 1980. I never got to read, the previous drafts of the script. I really wish I could, but even Mojica, lost the first drafts. So when I picked up the screenplay, this 1980 screenplay back in 2001, I realized that this third film of the trilogy looked very much like the other films. It was set in rural villages, and it also was written for this young and athletic Coffin Joe, for the actor Mojica, José Mojica Marins, who was very still young and in good shape to perform those all this action that was involved in the Coffin Joe films. So it was quite obvious to us that Mojica, being a 70-year-old man, he wouldn't be able to perform as he used to in the past. So I rewrote the story, and we changed many ideas. We exchanged many ideas, me and Coffin Joe and producer Paulo Sacramento as well, as to rewrite the film into a more contemporary fashion, but not following any trends.
Nem os vivos, nem os mortos, nem a própria loucura me impedirão de gerar Meu filho!
I don't think he's just the Brazilian boogeyman. He's a sadistic undertaker who has, you know, these crazy, sadistic and views and philosophies about life. You know, so he believes in the survival of the fittest and in the concept of eternity through the continuity of the blood. So he's not, you know, just carrying kids. You know, he and also, you know, the first films and also Embodiment of Evil of the Carpenter trilogy, they are films made for a mature adult audience. You know, it's high concept horror and very sexualized stories. You know, so it's not, you know, Carpenter is not really the Brazilian boogeyman. It's much more than that. You know, he's a madman with a bunch of important ideas in his mind and goals as well.